Today I'm going to do conjunctions, planetary conjunctions. These are quite interesting because what they do, they kind of, this is when you really need to know what planet is friendly with what planet and how they work together. And this normally, as a rule, is always better if planets are sitting in a house on their own. The moment you get two, three, or more planets in a house, it kind of makes it difficult because all the planets have their own agendas, and all of a sudden, it's almost like at a meeting. You're at a meeting, and everybody, they're like say three, four, five, six planets or people sitting there, and they all want to have a point. They want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. So you can imagine it gets a little bit crazy. So when something like this happens, if you have it in your chart, two or more planets in a house, which most of us do, it's you learn. I shall show you ways to actually look after that, because the thing is, unless if you have very strong ascendant and very strong chart, it's very difficult for the person to be able to untangle the issues that two planets can put into a house. But once you know astrology, once you kind of come from a knowledge viewpoint, you can kind of really change the energy of any house, because we have free will. I think that's what people think, everything is paved for us, where most things are, but we can influence our own life for sure. So anyway, conjunctions basically happens when two planets are sitting in the same house. So for example, if you have Venus and Mercury in your third house, so that means that Venus influences the third house, and Mercury influences the third house as well. And they equally both influence 7 houses away from them as well. So they both influence your 9th house as well. So this is now, you've got to put all the things together, but obviously the next layer will be like what that ascendant is, how friendly are Venus and Mercury to that planet, to that ascendant. So you can see the layers are building now. So Venus and Mercury we don't know, I'm not going to talk about any sort of ascendants here, just generally speaking, Mercury and Venus in a house. So these two planets are friendly towards each other. So they kind of support one another in each other's agenda. And they're both very sort of soft planets. They're friendly and benefic planets. So their agendas are going to be quite sweet. Again, depending on, it can change depending on the ascendant, but we're just talking generally. Third house is our communication. So these people will have a beautiful voice. The way they speak will be beautiful. So they will be friendly because Mercury is a friendly planet. And Mercury takes on the energy of the planets that it sits with, because it's quite a neuter planet. So sitting with Venus, which is like a giving, diplomatic planet, its way of communication will be very sweet. So this person could be extremely friendly towards others, when they text or write emails, it's very sweet way of actually communicating. They also could be very, very, very strong on the arts, because third house is the arts. It's all forms of arts, so from photography to crafts to painting, music, anything like that. So that makes it really, really strong as well. And so that means also now, also we talk, another thing that happens in the third house is siblings. So the siblings are very close, very friendly, do things with each other. Their hobbies are similar and stuff like that. all of that is now also impacting the ninth house. The ninth house is your spirituality, your father, your education, and Mercury is planet of education as well, intellect. So you can imagine it's going to impact, particularly if it's in good dignity, impact the ninth house really, really well. So it's very good for higher education. Third house is learning anyway. So imagine that's going to be somebody who's going to, because there are two planets, they want to learn all the time. They also will be very interested in travel. Mercury does rule travel. Ninth house is long distance travel, so they'd be very much like that. And Venus will put a cultural thing onto that as well, a twist like that. So that makes it beautiful as well. And then the father will be intellectual, and he will be very sweet towards his children. And he probably has studied something to do with music, the arts as well. So you put things together like that. Then let's try Mercury Mars. Mercury Mars, say Mercury Mars, say let's put that into the 10th house. Mercury and Mars don't get on. But both planets do pretty well in the 10th house, because 10th house has got energy of Capricorn, and Mercury is friendly with Saturn, which rules, but it hasn't got directional strength there. It gets directional strength in the first house, Mercury does. But Mars does really, really well in the 10th house. So this is a really strong Mars, really focused. Mercury is the planet of speech, and Mars is an impulsive, fiery planet. So when they sit next to each other, the communication and the speech will be very hasty, very to the point, comes across a little bit harsh, and decisions will be made, because obviously third house things are in Mercury. So third house, so thinking process will be really quick. Will probably don't think things through very well. Speech will be harsh. They could sort of like curse a little bit. But this will be somebody who will analyze things and get things done. It'd be really good for, because it's also will have Capricorn energy. So it'd be like a Saturnian, Mercurial, and Mars thing, so it's very good for engineering, and construction. So this is how you see this. Let's do one more. Jupiter. Let's do Jupiter and the Sun. Jupiter and the Sun are friendly towards each other, but Sun agitates any planet that it sits with. Naturally, it's going to burn them a little bit. So. And Jupiter will be rules children as well. So if, say for example, if this is happening in your 11th house, you could be burnt by some of your friends. Say if Jupiter, they were in the 11th house, so you could possibly be burnt by friends at some point. It doesn't mean that goes on for a lifetime thing. And so yeah, and networks and networking will be a bit difficult. So this will get better with age, kind of thing. It also could mean that you have problems with a child, because Jupiter rules children as well. But what it does also, Jupiter protects the Sun. So whatever house the Sun rules, it'll be protected, because Jupiter is like a warm blanket. It's looking after the indications of the Sun. So that's another one. I'll do one more, and I think we call that a day then. So Rahu Moon. Rahu Moon. So Rahu is expansion and magnification of, and actually putting like this shadowy, foggy thing onto the house. And now Moon has come on there, so the mind is like that. So this will be somebody who is the mind is playing tricks on them a little bit. They kind of don't know what they want. They don't know how to kind of like. Rahu Moon can make the mind a little bit unstable, up and down. So but they want to have fame. They want to be seen, these people, because Moon likes fame, and Rahu wants to expand that. This could be a mother who's famous. It could be it could be somebody who is probably famous and wants to have fame as well. So so this is how you put things together. I obviously, as I'm doing videos, will see more and more examples, and when the third planet comes in, you can imagine this kind of makes it like a little bit like, okay, so there are 3 ingredients now going into this, so you have to see all of them. You have to see which planet is strong in that house and how they impact each other, how friendly they are with each other, what house it is, because certain planets work better, like Mars works really well in the 6th and the 10th house, Mercury works really well in the 1st and the 8th, Sun does really, really well in the 10th, Moon in the 4th, Venus in the 4th, Mercury, we said the 1st house. So so all of these impact that as well. So that's it for now, and I'm sure we will be touching on these things again and again as we go on. See you soon.